Well, welcome to both of you. Today, of course, we have Ruth Butler and Jodie Guillen from the Space Foundation, and I'm so excited to have you both here. It's been a while since we saw each other, and gosh, I think we did at least the training over the summer together, so it's so good to see you kind of face to face. Today, we want to share out a little bit about what Space Foundation does, as well as the teacher liaison programs for which we're proudly sporting our shirts today, and kind of just discuss some ideas about how we keep STEM relevant in our classrooms around the country and certainly across the curriculum. So why don't we just start off with a brief description about what Space Foundation is and kind of where it's located and who you work with.
Okay, well, like Shauna said, my name is Jodie Guillen, and this is Ruth Butler. We both work together at the Space Foundation. Space Foundation headquarters are in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We have offices in Washington, D.C., and then a few people that are kind of scattered all around the United States that work for us as well. And then we also have our Space Foundation Discovery Center in Colorado Springs, which is our museum. And the Space Foundation is a nonprofit advocate organization that was founded in 1983 for the global space ecosystem. And really, it really sums up what we do as an organization is really we just convene and collaborate, bring people together to talk about space, STEM education, and then work on those initiatives together to do awesome things.
So, and also, you guys create the Space Symposium, which is one of the world's best gatherings of space professionals from the government and military and academia and industry. And the first one I went to was 2006, and I've tried to go back as often as I could since then.
Yeah, it's really spectacular. And that in the past, that's always happened in the spring, like March or April. And then, of course, now in this world of COVID, we've had to reschedule and postpone that now twice. We are shooting to have it in person in August of 2021. But then kind of as a way to kind of still be relevant and still, provide collaborative opportunities for people, we came up with something called Symposium 365. And that is essentially a platform that allows the mission and the excitement of Symposium and the Space Foundation to really extend throughout the whole year. I've really enjoyed actually listening to some of those panels. The most recent one I heard was about the women that are leading the Space Force. And we're really proud about that program. And for us as teachers or former classroom teachers and now informal educators, all of our teacher liaisons get free access to that platform, which there's live events. All those live events are available on demand afterwards. And then there are a ton of videos from previous symposium of some really amazing speakers that you can hear from as well. So it's pretty cool.
Excellent.
It's a great way to tie in education and space that's outside of our educational world. So we will have, speakers that are in Space Force, and we could tie in engineers, and it's become a space community or a space ecosystem, as we like to call it at Space Foundation, where we can all interact together, and it's space for all.
It's interesting that you say that because, when I first came on board and I didn't even know what teacher liaisons was until kind of, Kevin told me, and then I got to go to the Space Symposium. That was my first time, not only in like Colorado, but just at such a huge event, and I was overwhelmed. But what I found interesting about it is that blend. It is that, we had those great professional development activities to where I could relate to regardless of the science and the, the space part, because I was a teacher. So that it helped me to fit in. And I think that had I not had that experience of working with you all there, I'm not sure how I would have felt walking around that conference going, I just couldn't have made the connection otherwise. So that was super helpful.
It's really crazy. Like our first and only symposium we've attended live was in 2019 as well. And I was completely blown away. And I think what's really cool about that opportunity for our teacher liaisons is, again, we bring you guys in, you get to come for free to attend it, but it's not a teacher conference. And so we do teacher STEM activities and we have PD days and all of that, but the ability to be sitting in these amazing sessions, hearing from, anyone from the NASA administrator to, heads of space agencies from different countries, or I think Ruth and I, one of our very favorite ones from that year was listening to the Secretary of the Air Force. And I would have never had an opportunity to get to hear these people speak in person. And so it's pretty awesome for sure.
Well, and then they get to sit at the table with you too. I think I was like, not only was it an impressive meal, but we got to talk with quite a few people who were also military at our table. So yeah, the networking opportunities are pretty phenomenal.
And your liaison program, you tend to get a hot shot to sort of award the teachers their certificates. I know Eileen Collins gave me my certificate.
That is so cool.
So yes, great, wonderful. So with the Space Foundation, we are focusing today on speaking with two of the educators with the teacher liaison program. Would you like to share a little bit about the liaison program?
Sure. Ruth, do you want to share a little bit about it? And then I'll follow up on that. I always talk too much, so let's give Ruth a chance.
I'm okay with that. I'm that person who's behind the scenes. Like I love to follow up and the numbers part, and Jodie's my cheerleader, and Jodie's our coordinator, and so I love to help her out. But it's the teacher liaison program is a cohort of international and national teachers, and that we work together, share ideas. We can we also have teacher PDs where we can share ideas. It's just, a great place for teachers to come together, share ideas, and just, it's amazing to have, my mind is going like 500 miles per hour right now. And I'm just thinking about perseverance, because we had a webinar that we partnered with CASES. But in this webinar, we shared a bunch of activities. We spoke to engineers through Lockheed Martin, and it was just a great idea. And we had international teachers attend, and we had, teachers stateside that attended. And it was just a great way to incorporate all of these ideas together and share ideas. And we have wakelets and other teacher resources that we can share with teachers worldwide and help each other out, because as teachers, we always need help, and it's great to have new ideas, fresh ideas. This is a great way to meet as a group of like-minded.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Ruth kind of mentioned CASES, the Center for Advancement of Science and Space, or ISS National Laboratories. That's a new partnership for us that we put in place this fall. And one of the cool things about that partnership is it allows us to expand our reach to teachers we've never been able to reach before. And as a federally funded program, ISS National Laboratories is limited to certain things that they can do internationally. And again, as a Space Foundation, we don't have those same limitations. And so we're able to provide resources and opportunities to international teachers that ISS National Laboratories can't do. And they in turn have given our teacher liaisons unprecedented access to the science on the ISS, which is really exciting. We're really excited about that.
I think it was great to have access to lesson plans in general, and the idea that we can coordinate, or we have the website to work with. I can meet teachers from around the world, which is pretty phenomenal. I know you're kind of working solely there with people in Colorado, but it opened it up to everyone. Mm-hmm. And for me to be able to share out with people in India, to be able to, find people who are working in CubeSats who are interested in kind of doing that kind of thing is, it's been, we're moving to that global kind of society anyway, and so to see that happening with teachers, I know is helpful.
So could you share a little bit about the summer camp? Sean and I were both in one of your summer camps, and we were on different little teams on the summer camp. But what I wanted to share was there were teachers from Massachusetts, India, and Texas, and I'm from Florida. And I'm still in touch with 2 or 3 of them through our social media from just having spent 1 week in one of your summer programs. So would you mind sharing just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Ruth and I took over the teacher liaison program in 2019. And then we were fortunate enough to be really involved with executing the Dr. Rochelle Abrams Space Across the Curriculum Teacher Professional Development Workshop. Super long name, but super awesome. And so Dr. Abrams has been extremely generous in providing funding for that professional development. And so in 2019, we had it in person. The first year of it was 2018 in person. And then this past year in 2020, we took that international, which was incredible. It was quite a challenge for Ruth and I to do, because we had teachers in many different time zones and countries, and we're 64 of them over the course of 2 weeks. And I think I was just finishing my master's degree at the time. And so that was my capstone project for my master's degree as well. And you know, at the end of that, and we looked back over everything that we had learned and taken away from it, for ourselves professionally and just as educators, but then to hear the feedback of people coming back in and what they've taken back into their classrooms or whatever has been extremely awesome. And I think one of the things that is the most powerful and probably my favorite part about, you know, that professional development or the teacher liaison program, other relationships and the networking that happens as part of it, because that's what's really going to change education and opportunity. And, you know, those relationships go on forever, really. I mean, it's so cool, you know. And one of the things that we did, so we were building a lunar outpost, and it was really fun. And so we had each day kind of focused on a different challenge. And so we had a day where we were talking about building, you know, like, how are you going to keep everybody playing by the rules, and what's your charter going to look like? And because we had teachers from so many different states and so many different countries, it kind of allowed us to get this behind the scenes look into how things happen in other countries. And I firmly believe that that's how we're going to really be able to continue to understand and kind of break down some of these barriers that have been up, you know, previously. Because once you know someone and understand their story and what it's like to teach and be in their shoes every day, it really changes your perspective about things. It's pretty awesome. So
I know oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, and it was really great to incorporate the arts part of the STEAM education. And I enjoy doing that part, because you do need to exercise the other side of your brain. Your left and right need a balance of it. And to see, you know, how people come up with laws and how to incorporate laws and the humanities into science was a really great way to integrate social aspects, especially when we were working with international teachers. How do they incorporate their social aspects and their heritage and their system of society with others, like those in the United States? And so it was really cool to see how we could integrate all of that into a global community on the moon. It was really cool.
Now, I was just going to say, I was really stretched in that week or 2 weeks long. But from that, I went back to my classes. It was obviously the first time we were going back virtual, and then we had to figure out how to go blended. I was able to implement Flipgrid. I love Canva. I'm using that in so many different ways. Adobe Spark. My kids all know how to make their presentations with that. And I was teaching Ender's Game in my 7th grade class this year. And so one of their projects was to create a kind of a company that was selling a future space settlement. So I really was able to kind of adapt some of those ideas. And so thank you for that. Since we've been talking about some of these, we might want to explain what a teacher liaison is, how one becomes one.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So we are actually right now in the middle of finalizing our judging for, this will be teacher liaison flight 1821. And when we talk about a flight, that's just our newest group of teachers. And the first number indicates the year that so we've now hit 18 years of the program, and then 21 is the calendar year that you're inducted. And so we're going to be having announcements by the end of next week. So breaking news, there's going to be new teacher liaisons added. And then those applications are going to open up again in May. And so essentially what a teacher liaison is it's a teacher that advocates for space-based education in their classrooms. Now, One of the things that we often get asked is, do you have to be a science teacher or a STEM teacher? No. We have art teachers, music teachers, we have kindergarten teachers all the way through college. And
I'm the English
Really?
debate teacher, yeah. So that's why he's
Yeah,
pointing at me. I have no idea how to build a space settlement. It blew me away.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
on my team, and I'm like, now what?
it's yeah, and we one of the Ruth and I, one of our big initiatives has been to really try to reach states and countries that we've never had representation from before, because we really want it to be a truly global picture of education, so that as a team, all right now there's 278 of us, all of us can kind of work together to push forward initiatives for our students and our countries, our communities, our states, and our nations. And so that's really kind of what it is in a nutshell. The application process and the program is really changing. And so we can talk about some of those new changes that are coming up here today. But the application itself, as it currently stands, is there's like 5 essay questions. You need to have a lesson plan and a letter of recommendation. One of the new things we've added to the application process is now we have a lesson plan template that teachers can download during the application process. So you can see what our template looks like, what we're looking for. So it hopefully makes it a little bit less abstract of a process. So we're excited about that.
We also, Jodie, do we want to talk about the revamp yet or no?
We can talk about the revamp, sure.
Okay.
This is breaking news too, because we haven't talked about this.
News.
Yeah, this is breaking news. Shauna and Kevin are hearing this for the first time today, so it's exciting.
So we decided our program keeps growing, but yet, you know, as all things happen, budgets, you know, there's cuts and, you know, there's things that we have to change around. So with the growing size, because we don't want to jip any other teacher. I mean, this is a great program for all teachers. And so in order to accommodate the growing size, we decided to go to a tiered program. So we'll have teachers that are newly into teaching, or maybe even pre-service teachers that are in college. We'll have a group of pre-service teachers, the new group that came in, and then we'll have like an alumni group. And I don't want to say we cycle them through, but they will go kind of in a tier section where we will go from in service to the alumni group. Well, I can't remember what the middle one.
Yeah, well, there's 4 different tiers. So we start. Tier 1 is our pre-service or brand new teachers to the classroom. Tier 2, that's kind of our new teachers that are applying. So this new flight would automatically be put into Tier 2. Tier 3 are veteran teachers who've been around a long time, which would be you 2 awesome teachers right here. And then Tier 4 are, you know, teachers that are either retired or who have been teaching forever. And allows them to then invest in mentorship in Tier 1. And so there's just cycle between it. And we're really working on building mentorship between tiers because we are not the only experts in the room. We're not. There are teachers that know far more than we do, and that ability to bring everybody together. And then, you know, as an organization, we always want to have really good data on whether our programs are working or not. And then in order for us to get additional funding, we need to be reporting metrics out to our sponsors. And so the other thing we're excited about is this is going to allow us to really track students for a much longer period of time than we currently are able to do by talking to their teachers. So we're excited about that. We even have a new mission patch that we've created, a new logo that's up on the Wakelet that we've shared with you guys as well, which contain all the links and resources from the teacher liaison program and the education department at the Space Foundation.
Do anything before, as we're about to close out, and I'll ask a final question?
No, I just remembered when you said the thing about the years. I'm actually class 0307. That
so
makes
he might be the Tier 4 about to.
Yeah, we're gonna move him in.
He's the dinosaur.
I might be the OG. So
well, and I think too, like one of the things that we've tried to really work on, we didn't have our in-person symposium workshops this year because of COVID. And so we're starting to roll out these webinars. We just did one on perseverance. We have one coming up on Gateway. We're going to talk about ARIS during that webinar. So we're excited about that. And so, for example, we know you guys are experts in CubeSats. And so we'd really love to do a webinar where we can kind of feature your expertise and share that out with our teachers, you know, through a platform that everybody can access. So we recognize we have many different time zones represented. So there's always recorded, made available afterwards, because then we can really learn from each other's knowledge too, right? I've never set a satellite. I have tried and competed for a place. I haven't made it happen yet, but I'm not giving up. So there's still hope.
I hear you. So the billionaire in Ohio is raffling off a 4th seat in a Dragon capsule. You have until the end of the month to enter. You can enter without, you know, actually making a purchase, but the donations go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
if hey, why not throw your name in the hat?
I mean, you never
Yes.
know, right?
I assure you, you won't win if you don't apply. So that's what I tell the kids. But one metric, well, honestly, thank you for your time. But I just, as you're tracking the effectiveness of your programs, one thing that Sean and I have been pretty successful at that might be worth considering is not just publications of teachers, but how the kids are presenting and speaking and writing papers for conferences or things like that. That would be another interesting metric.
Oh, you mean to judge teachers on who are looking for
as they're looking for? No, I'm saying as you evaluate the efficacy of your programs.
Yeah.
You know, in this COVID era, we're having to do so much virtually, right? So this past year, I kid you not, we just made the kids write technical papers and entered adult conferences that were virtual, and then we filmed them, and you know, the virtual presentations went there. And so, you know, everybody's just trying to adapt and do the best they can. But I am really looking forward to another space symposium that's in person.
Yeah, we are all looking forward to that.
In Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I want to go back to Colorado. I have to say that's one of the places I visited that I would definitely go back to. I guess as a parting question, when we think about the idea of how you want to branch out, work with teachers in other states and other countries, what would you say to a teacher who might be reluctant to get involved or who might just be needing some extra advice on how to get through these kind of weird times and still implement a passion or a love of anything STEAM related?
Well, I think that, you know, kids, Ruth and I are both classroom teachers. I taught the whole time I was in the classroom, I taught in Title I schools. Ruth, that is probably where she found her love of teaching, was really in Title I schools. And kids can tell whether you're excited and passionate about what you're teaching about, and they can tell if you're not. And that excitement and passion translates through the screen just the same as if you're in a classroom. And, you know, that is what is going to allow kids to find their own passion. Because if you're passionate about something and they catch that passion, you never know what's going to happen. You know, and we push heavily with STEM or STEAM because there's so many openings for kids in the United States and around the world, that for these jobs that are going to do these really cool life-changing things. But there's so many other opportunities that can come out of a good STEM education. I mean, I love that you guys are teaching your students how to write technical papers. And we, you know, I remember trying to get my students making the connection between, you know, what they're learning in language arts and then trying to translate that over into science. And so, you know, really when everybody comes together to play at the same table, we can do really awesome things for kids. And I know that, you know, I was inspired to become a teacher when I was in 6th grade. I was watching the Challenger and we watched that disaster unfold in front of our eyes. And my 6th grade teacher, the way she handled that situation changed the rest of my life. And now here I am living the dream, but this is my dream, is to educate other kids and help teachers find their paths and passions. And you don't know who's sitting in your classroom, right? I mean, we know
they have
that
unlimited potential.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah. And the first people that are going to set foot on Mars are probably in school right now. And then, you know, who knows? I mean, maybe you have the next Mozart in your classroom, or maybe you have the next hard-hitting journalist that's going to tell the story behind all these cool missions that are going to space. Or, we've got a lot of, movement and stuff going on with equity in the United States right now. I mean, maybe they're going to change access for kids far into the future, or transform the, prison system. Who knows? But we do know that the kids that are going to be the world changers are in schools right now. And so if you can stay focused on that, and just keep on keeping on.
Well, thank you for the summer opportunities, the
Yes.
PD, all the, I'm a big fan. I try to brag on Space Foundation as much as I can.
That's true. We try to send
Thank you.
people your way.
Yeah, I've encouraged many teachers. I said, you should apply. You should apply.
Well, we don't hear about it a lot. Like, that's one of the things I want to maybe figure out a way that maybe we can help out in Florida, if nothing else, is to figure out how we get the word out a little bit more. How we, we were able to get a grant to do this little PD thing that we did, which is how we met Monica, and we were able to share out that. And I think Jodie, I think we were going to do one of those this year, and it didn't come to fruition because we couldn't get it together on our end either.
Yeah.
But that we got to find a way to get the word out. So one way to get the word out is, why don't you just go ahead and share your social media sites now? I know we're going to post them in the description too, but if someone wanted to go to a Facebook page or any other social media.
So discoverspace.org is our education site, and then spacefoundation.org is our other website. But all of our education resources and everything are on discoverspace.org. And, we do have the links to become a teacher liaison. You can read more about that program is on that website as well. But then, like, the professional development that Kevin and Sean are talking about, that is not just open for teacher liaisons. We're getting ready to open applications probably in the next couple of months. And when that happens, we'll have links and information up on our professional development page on discoverspace.org.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Wakelet that I think you're going to send to us to post, or is that something we want to hold off on for another time? Or
no, Ruth and I learned about Wakelets through we were teaching teachers, I think, right, Ruth?
Yep.
Or I did a tweet me. I don't know. We found about it from somewhere, and we use them all the time. So it's a curated list of links so that, like if we're doing a webinar like Perseverance, and the chat and questions are moving so fast, those links don't get lost. And so Sean and Kevin make that link available, and all of the links that we have are there as well. Great. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. We're going to go ahead and end this here, but we look forward to working with you again real soon. So thanks so much.
Thank you. It's great talking to you guys.